Welcome, everyone. We are live. Oh, look at that. It's Wednesday. I just totally had to look at the screen to see what day it was. Oh, snap. Listen, you see that topic. Help, what should I do? Here's the process because we forget ourselves. We forget ourselves. I I don't know why. Of course I do. It's like we start to panic and we short circuit ourselves. Step one, do your very best to remain calm, even though the situation looks absolutely hopeless and tumultuous. Do your best to stay calm. Why is that? Because if you allow yourself to go into fight or flight, because you're freaking out and you're panicking, there's no time to be logical. There's no time to redirect. There's only time to do what? Fight or fly. So, step one is always do your best to remain calm. That's where we start. Step two, what's the problem? What is the problem? That is step two. Name it, identify it. You must know what you're dealing with. Step three, what's the solution? Well, if you see the problem, you can see the solution. Hunger is the problem, food is the solution. You're barefoot is the problem, shoes would be the solution. If you need money, money would be the solution. If you are unemployed, a job would be the solution. So when you know the problem, you know the solution. You see it? So if you know the problem and then the solution is right there, well, as soon as you name the solution, you have it. Why is that? Cause and effect. No need to hope. No need. My favorite is to dance naked in the moonlight. None of that is required. You know the problem, you know the solution. So remember, Einstein so famously said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. Yes and no. You're still the thinker, so you're still the same, but you're changing your state. You're changing your mental attitude. That's what's changing. That's what he's telling you to change. Change your mental attitude, and you will bring about a whole new experience. But do you not? Think about it. When you're in the mood and you're yawning and you're tired and you're stretching, sorry, perhaps that was the wrong choice of word. But when you feel like that, what do you want to do? You want to lay down and snuggle into your blanket, don't you? As a solution. But what if you need to get up and move around and get some stuff done? Then you need to change your mental attitude so that you can physically get up. Think about that and you'll know exactly what I'm telling you. You're laying there in the bed and you know you got to get up. You've already hit snooze 3 times and you're like, "Oh, Lord, I just can't." And then finally you say, "Ah," and you throw the covers off and you roll out of bed. Do you not? But where did you roll out of bed first? In your mind's eye. In your mind's eye. So if you move mentally, you will move physically because you have moved into the state. You have to see the evidence of what you have done internally, externally. This is what you do. You see, yesterday, after we had logged off everywhere else, we were on fan base and we were talking about persistent thoughts and why we should have them and why we do have them already and what they do. You see, you might not be able to see inside your brain, You don't see inside your brain, but you know that it is working. Well, how do you know? You have the evidence. Where's the evidence? On the outside. So when you see someone who is physically impaired, you know there's something in the brain that says what? No messages are getting through. Why is that? Because the pathway has been damaged. So remember the story of the man in the wheelchair, and he said he did a quantum leap. That can be so confusing. But I can tell you what he did by way of law. By way of law, he got into his mind's eye, his imagination. And every day, for a certain amount of time, he walked in his mind's eye. He walked in his mind's eye. Now, hold that image. He's sitting in his wheelchair and he's imagining that he's walking. Hold that image, because here's another image for you. Remember the athlete who's sitting with the little cap on his head in the scientist room? And his coach said, okay, son, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run that race. So remember, the athlete's just sitting in the chair. And he's got the cap on his head. And he's running the race in his mind's eye. The computer starts to go. It does that. And what is it doing? It's showing you his brain activity. Now, why is he having brain activity? One, we always have it. It doesn't stop because the law of vibration tells us everything moves, nothing stands still. So even though he is asleep, even though whenever we go to sleep, our bodies are still, for the most part, the brain is always on. This computer is picking up his mental activity. All of the muscles that would fire as he was running, they are firing right here, right now, as he is sitting. Go back to the man in the wheelchair and watch what he's doing. He's not wearing a brain cap and he's not hooked up to a computer, right? So for all intents and purposes, we cannot see what his brain is doing. Remember, his pathway has been damaged, clearly, because the message is not getting through to his legs. So what is he doing? Every day he spends a certain amount of time imagining that he is walking. He's not imagining somebody else walking. He is imagining himself walking, just as the athlete is imagining himself running. Now, here is how persistence works. You can't see persistence in the very beginning, because technically speaking, there is no evidence of your persistence. But how do we know the man in the wheelchair was persistent? Because when you have a persistent thought, you begin to wire a neurological pathway. You remember, you can't see it yet. You cannot see it. You have no evidence of this thing happening at all. None whatsoever, because it's inside the brain. And you're not sitting there hooked up to anything. So you don't have the evidence that you are doing anything, or anything that you're doing is working. But every day, I'm going to presume it's the same time every day, because he's got to be persistent. He's got to have a habit. So every day he gets up and he imagines that he's doing this thing for a certain amount of time. And he gets excited by it. Every day he does it. Every day he's doing it. He's walking in his imagination. Because he remained persistent, his brain had to show the evidence. So he wired a new neurological pathway to get the message from brain to legs. As within, so without. He was moving his legs in his mind's eye. He was living as if he was walking. And because he remained persistent, even though he had no evidence of what was happening, don't get it twisted, that new neurological pathway was wiring and firing. And then, as if by magic, as if by magic, he just got up and walked. Now, of course, he had to put in a lot of practice because he hadn't moved his legs in a bit. But because of his persistence, that he had no evidence for in the very beginning, he walked. So if the athlete can sit in front of a computer with a cap on and his muscles can fire just by him thinking or imagining that he's doing it, well then, it stands to reason that the other person is going to have the exact same result. And it may take longer for him because remember, the original pathway for walking has been damaged. So he's got to make a new one. Whereas the athlete, his is working fine. So he just follows the neurological pathway that's already set down. So why am I telling you this? The next time you say, help, what do I do? You breathe and you remain calm as best as you can so that you can have a clear mind to see the problem. And when you see the problem, now you see the solution. And when you see the solution, what do? Experience the solution in imagination as you would experience it physically. In other words, the man in the wheelchair practiced walking every day in his mind's eye. Yours may not be as dramatic. Yours may be whatever that thing is, because only you know the problem. So every day you are practicing and practicing. You have no evidence just yet other than what you are doing mentally. That is the only evidence you have. Because you're the one who knows what you're doing in your mind's eye. Nobody knows what you're doing but you. If, however, you remain persistent in doing it, you are literally setting down a new neurological pathway in your brain. Now, there's two ways. Repetition is one way, meaning doing it over and 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 over. And the second way is doing it over and over and over and over with feeling. Why with feeling? Because feeling is like a hot branding iron and it leaves a searing impression in the brain. And that searing impression is a brand new neurological pathway. Angela, you're not a neuroscientist. How can you say these things? Because the law says, as within, so without. And scientists tell us we have neurological pathways. Those are the little wrinkles in your brain. Allegedly. That's what they call them. So they don't get there randomly. They get there because we learned how to do something. Whenever you learn how to do something, it is stored. Some say it is stored in the brain. Some say it is stored in the body. Some say it is stored in the DNA. All I can tell, I don't know where it is stored, but I am telling you, it is stored within you. How do I know it's stored within you? Because as within, so without. That's all I know. So the key here for us today, when we're going through the thick of it, remember yourself. Remember what you know. Remember what you know. And what do you know? You know the principles that govern creation. Mentalism, it's your mind. It is what you are aware of, what you are aware of being. That's all mind is. Mind is not brain. You see, we don't think rationally when we're panicked. That's why step one is to remain calm as best as you can, because then the body is not trying to either escape or fight. It's not trying to serve, it's not trying to survive, right? You want to take it from that place because you can't think straight if you're surviving. It's always danger, danger, right? So you want to calm the body. How do you do that? Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Nice and easy. Nice and easy, right? That's what we do. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, right? I'll get you to mute your mic, Jillian. Right. So, in order to remain calm as best as you can, and here's the beautiful part, you don't have to force calm. You don't have to force your calm, but tell yourself what to do. And as you start that nice deep inhalation and exhalation, you're beginning to calm yourself. Now you're in a calm mental state. See the world from that state. Now you have risen above the problem and you're looking down on it. Because remember, when you look down on a maze, you can see exit, entrance, and the pathway. You understand? So it's not that you're not going to solve your problem, it's that you calm yourself, identify the problem, choose the solution, and when you choose the solution, experience the solution in your imagination the way you would actually experience it in reality. Why? Because as within, so without. And so long as you remain persistent in doing that imaginal act, remember, you're not observing the act, you are experiencing the act, you are doing it. You understand? You are doing it in your mind's eye. So if you're having a conversation in your mind's eye, if you're seeing something in your mind's eye, you are doing it. So that is how we assist ourselves on a daily basis. But you have to remember to do it. And it takes practice. The more you go through your day, listen, don't wait for a crisis. Why would you do such a thing? No, no, no. Practice incessantly with as much pleasurable things as possible. Why? When I say pleasurable things, what do I mean? You need a sale at the grocery store. You are looking for a particular hat. You see the hat in your mind's eye, you're like, that's what I want. You go, you need a free cup of coffee. You want a free pizza. You just want to test it out. You want to test what you are capable of. You want to test that you can remain focused, and you want to test that you can be persistent and in holding your attention. This is what you're testing, nothing else. So if you do it on a daily basis with everything, the green lights, the parking spot, everything you can, as you are living, everything. When an unsavory moment should arise, what do you think you will do? You think you'll have a meltdown? Or do you think you'll say to yourself, whoa, I know this is a little bit scary because I've never done this thing before, but what have I done? I have been practicing. So let me practice here. But you see, most of us, we wait for something to happen to test ourselves. Nah, you want to know that you know what you're doing. So you practice every single day so that when something arises, you are firmly anchored. You are the wise man building your house upon the rock. And what is the rock? The rock is the law. That's what you're doing on a daily basis. Don't wait till you need a job. Experiment at work. Experiment with what? Anything fun. Anything. You're the one doing the job. So if you want to meet the deadline, you experiment and you see in your mind's eye or you hear your boss say, wow, you totally beat this deadline. I mean, you're always on time, but you beat this deadline way ahead of time. Or you can hear your boss saying, you know, you're such a positive influence on this team. Test yourself. Don't wait until you need something. You don't need until you don't wait until you smell bad to bathe. Oh, listen, I hope not. Of course, unless you're a teenage boy and somebody has to hose you down in the yard. But I digress. They're like ninjas with water. They don't like it at all. I digress. But you see what I'm saying to you, or you hear what I'm saying to you. You help yourself by practicing every single day with whatever it is that you want to practice with. You want to find $5 as you're walking down the street. Well, go ahead. Imagine in your mind's eye and feel yourself bend down and say, hey, $5. And you can say, oh, look, lucky me. But then you'll smile to yourself and go, I put that $5 there because I imagined picking it up. Or you can experiment with, I'm so lucky. I'm always in the right place at the right time. Wonder where I'll be today. You test yourself. Test yourself. What are you testing? You are testing your ability to know what you want, see it and imagine it in your mind's eye, hold your attention persistently, and what? Be faithful to it so that you see it. You say, oh my goodness, I did that. Because you remembered exactly what you did. You will never again say, oh, what a coincidence. Because you'll know you were the one who did it. You see? Don't wait until you need something. No. Don't wait for those things. Always be practicing the use of the law. That's why it is there in the first place. That's exactly why it's there. And when you practice on a daily basis, what do you possibly think happens as a result of your practice? You become more bold. You become more confident. You become more sure of yourself. Oh, next thing you know, you have the audacity to imagine somebody close to you that their life is also beautiful. You see? You have the ability to now share and say, oh my goodness, this is what I did. You see, we've been given a great gift, which is the knowledge of the principles that govern all of creation. That's what we've been given, this knowledge. Remember in the Bible the story, you don't hide your light under a bushel. You put it on the mountaintop. What does that mean? It means you have the knowledge of the law, then use it. And that will illuminate your way. Because that's what the putting it on the hill would be. You use it and you use it nobly. You hide it under a bush. What are you feeling guilty about? That you have to hide things. Use it. It is there to be used. Use it. Because then you will not find yourself in a situation where you say, help, I need somebody, right? You won't find yourself in a situation such as that because you will know what to do. Why? Because you've been doing it and doing it and doing it well. But you are always successful. A little hard to believe? You are always successful, whether you are successful in the good, the bad, or the indifferent. So long as you have held your attention in a particular place, you are always successful. You see, we are manifesting every single day. Manifestation is not a thing to do, or it's not a lifestyle. It's not a flash in the pan. That's just a fancy word that marketing gurus came up with. What you're doing on a daily basis is always showing yourself the corresponding actions to your thoughts, aka manifesting. When you go out in the garden, your garden has manifested itself in full bloom, has it not? Because to manifest is to show what is contained within. You get on an airplane, you get on a cruise ship, they have your name on a list. They don't need to call your name, they just need to read the list and they know who's in the vessel. They're reading a what? A manifest. What's that? A list that shows you what's inside of the vessel. So your experiences are manifest of your thoughts, not just willy nilly thoughts, but your persistent thoughts. Why persistent? Because it requires persistence to set down a new neurological pathway, as within, so without. So this day, this beautiful day, yes, I just popped into the chat. Scripture tells us that now is the day of. It's not limited to salvation. You choose what's in your now. No opportunities wasted. I love that acronym, Reacher. Because remember what Neville says. Neville also said that a lot of people are doing deferred occupancy. What does that mean? It means they want something, but they do not accept it. So then they stay in a state of always wanting. Why should you have to wait for 3 years? Why should you have to wait for 3 weeks? Yes, even though things have their appointed time. Watermelon has like what, 120 days? Something crazy. So what do? You don't wait for it. Accept it now. The way, how do you accept it? By experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality if you had it right here and right now. Because what are you doing? You're having it right here and right now. Because the moment you accept it and you feel it and you experience it in your mind's eye, the body registers it as being now. But persist in the now, right? Yes, light does represent knowledge. The mountain or hilltop represents the pinnacle of what you're born for and put here to do. Share the knowledge accumulated. Yes, because you don't want to be a mental miser. You want to share that knowledge. Yes, exactly. It always functions now because there is no, we are so programmed to, oh, I'll do it later. And then we end up waiting. And then we wonder why we're waiting. I've been waiting. Wait, why are we waiting? Because we keep putting off our acceptance. So accept it now. And in order to accept it as happening right now, as any person with a phobia will tell you, they don't see the thing that they're irrationally afraid of. They don't see it on the outside. All they have to do is see it in their mind's eye, and their whole body says, oh my God. All they're doing is seeing it in their mind's eye first. And their whole body reacts and responds. How? With the corresponding effect that they're living it now. So, my beautiful friends, you see, we are always living in this fashion because we can only live by law. Law governs life, law governs being. So, there's no other way to live. We will always be aware of who we are. Well, we'll be aware that we are, but you could forget your name, yeah? But you may forget your name, but you'll always know, wait a minute, didn't I have a name? Ah, so what are you remembering? That you are. We always know that we are. And what we know that we are, we do. As within, so without. Because everything is moving, nothing stands still. And it is moving from where it is to where it's going, polarity. But the way it moves, it has to move in a rhythmic fashion. And that movement in a rhythmic fashion brings about a cause. But wait, every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. And then what do? You get an idea and you project it masculine. But where is it projected? Oh, it may seem to be invisible, but you project it into a giant womb. Oh, yes, you do. You have to plant something in order for it to grow and you experience it. So the womb, we might not see it. We call it the subconscious mind. For all intents and purposes, the subconscious mind is imaginary. Uh-huh. Well, you can physically touch the brain. Isn't Einstein's brain stored somewhere? We can physically touch the brain. Well, if you know what I mean, you can cut it out, but you can physically touch it. But you can't touch the subconscious mind. Hmm. So does it or does it not exist? You see, we keep relying on our eyes to tell us what is true and what is not true. And that is why we're easily deceived. But when you know a thing, when you know a thing, that's why when Neville says to you, if you persistently believe something, then it is true. It doesn't matter if it's a lie or not. Listen, you could have grown up hearing, oh my God, you're so ugly. You could have grown up hearing that. And if it is not true at all, but because you believe it to be true, it has to be. As within, so without. As a man thinketh, therefore he is. What's that telling you? It's telling you you are aware and you are aware of something. And the thing that you are aware of, you become. So it's not that the thing is true or false. It's whether do you believe it and with what level of intensity do you believe it? Then that is true for you. So this lovely day, as you go out into the world, remember who and what you are so that you practice every single day so that you don't wait for a situation. Some people say that, they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I'm like, wait, what? That's how you want to live? From one crisis to the next? No, thanks. I would rather be peaceful. Thank you. I'm not such a fan of drama, but you know how it is in this day and age. Yes. To believe is mental acceptance, Reacher. Yes. Yes. You see, let's elaborate on thinking of the mind and thinking of the heart. Because I will say this, The heart houses the mind. Sometimes we want to separate mind and heart, but one is the interior and one is the exterior. Hmm? The mind, remember, mind is not brain. Mind is awareness of self. Mind is the awareness of your own existence. I am. That is mind. That is mind. But it is also heart. See, when we think of heart, we think of organ in the center left of the chest. We think that's what heart is. But no, heart is what you are aware of being. When you say I am, and then you say whatever it is I am, that is awareness. So that is mind and heart. Heart they use because it is synonymous with the feeling or the knowing of the self. So mind and heart are interior, exterior, as within, so without. So you are aware, mind, and the thing that you are aware of being is heart. Because if you're once you are aware of something, you feel it, you know it. That is heart. So don't think in terms of organs because they aren't. So living from the heart would be passionately aware of what you are. I am. And then you say what it is that follows there. That is mind and heart. They are one. As within, so without. You understand? As within, so without. This is what mind and heart mean. Mind and heart are not your organs. Mind is the awareness that you exist. Heart is what you are aware of as you exist. I am mind, George. And you feel George passionately. Or I am Angela. The heart would be Angela. Your whole being is what you are aware of. That is your heart. So, whatever you are aware of is how you will live, how you will be in the world. And this is why you're always told if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Because it is the love of a thing that allows you to be persistent with it. Shoot, it could also be the hatred of a thing. So, what does that tell you? The thing you are most aware of. I trust that makes sense. Right? Let us take a brief moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space this morning. Hey, Hilarion, Symmetric, let's go. I see you all right here on Twitter. I see you. YouTube and Facebook, I see you. Checkmate, Wisdom Almighty, you're the ones who've made yourselves known in the chat. So I see you, but the others, they're there too. Fan base, who's in the house? Let me pop over from the chat. Miss Ange is here. Hey, now there's two of us in the house. Happy is here. Miss Fawn, Afternoon Delight. Hey, Reacher is here. Joaquin is here. Miss McQueen is here. Oracle Treehouse. Hey, and Flo Smiles. Thank you all for being here on this lovely Wednesday. As you go out in the world today, as you go out in the world today, practice for the love of God and all things. as my grandmother would say. Practice. Practice so that you can be the 5 wise virgins. A little more oil in my lamp to keep it burning, right? You got more oil. That's what you're walking with every time you practice. You're refilling the lamp when it runs low. You don't wait. You know you have a lamp. So if you have a lamp, you should have oil. You're going to wait till oh my God, I need, no. Practice. That way the wick is always trimmed in your lamp and it's ready to go. Darkness will never overcome you because you're walking with the light, are you not? So practice on a daily basis, applying the principles. What are you doing when you practice? 1, you're staying as calm as you can. 2, you identify the problem. 3, as soon as you see the problem, well, then the solution is right there. They don't travel alone, y'all. Problem and solution travel together. Remember that. And once you see the solution, now experience the solution inside your mind's eye. Do it, be it, feel it. You have your nuance, you have your way. Some of you hear, some of you see, some of you touch, some of you taste, some of you smell. You have your own way of experiencing something in your imagination. Right? You might argue in your mind's eye. You may carry on a whole conversation. So use your nuance. Use what you would naturally do because it's you. And when you do that, remain persistent. And as you remain persistent, you are forming a new neurological pathway in your brain. And then bam, there it is on the outside, as if by magic. Once you set down a new neurological pathway, you're going to experience the thing on the outside. As within, so without. If you get up and you say, walk to the fridge. Now, you might not say that to yourself, walk to the fridge. But you get up because why? There's something there that you want. So you've given the command. So obviously your body is going to get up and fire along that neurological pathway so you can get up and walk where you need to go. When you want to speak, what are you doing when you're finding the words? Remembering. You're choosing a neurological pathway of words so that when you open your mouth, you can speak the words that you had in your mind. But hear it, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So now you see, you are aware and you're aware of the words, but now you have to speak them. So they come out of the heart because you are aware of them being there, and that's who you are. So that's why, as you think in your heart, you speak. You are aware of them being there, so you have to speak them. As within, so without. So this morning when we hear the bowl, of course, yes, yeah, definitely, the more knowledge you obtain and apply, the less of a foothold things out in the world will trip you up. This is fact. Why? Because you can see that, wait a minute, I can change my experience. And you see it in your mind's eye, and you experience it in your mind's eye, what you want it to be. Well, then you're never a prisoner, are you? So as you hear the bowl and possible bird song this morning, make that conscious decision for yourself today. You know what? I'm going to practice what I know. I'm going to practice every moment. I'm going to practice, and I'm going to be excited about practicing. Why should you be excited about practicing? Look at what you know how to do. Listen, if that does not rile you up, if that does not get you fired up, oh my God, I can change my life. I don't have to stay in mediocrity. I can change. Shoot. If that does not get you fired up, You think the latest car, the latest amount of money is going to get you fired up? Those things are fleeting. They come and they go. They have an ebb and a flow. But you see, what remains true is the principle. The law remains the same because the law comes from the all. And so when you stay faithful to that, listen, you've got to dance. You've got to sing. You've got to shout. As my grandmother would say, I got this fire shot up in my bones, she would say. Why? Because you're free to do what? To be the best you can. So you see, make that determination today when you hear the bull and bird song that I'm going to practice on a daily basis. Let's get the bull so that you can have bird song. Because he's something else today. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. Thank you all for being here on this glorious Wednesday. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, fan base. Thank you all for being here. And tonight I'll see you, if you're available, at 10:45 p.m., where we read the bedtime lecture so we can fall asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled. Thank you all. Thank you.